Hi everyone, I hope you're enjoying All About That Place 2024. My name is Mark Bayley, and in this talk I'll be showing you the different tools and techniques that you can use to break down your brick walls. Now let's start off with a really unique tool that can help you locate the origin of a particular surname. Perhaps you're starting out on a new branch in your family tree and you'd like to find out where that family surname originates from. And you can use that using a tool called result mapping. Now, on the genealogist, whenever you do a search, you get the results on the right-hand side and the summary of those results on the left. And for national sets, things like the census and BMDs, there is an extra option to view a map of those results. So here I've just got a quick example of searching for the Babbage surname, with Charles Babbage, obviously the founder of computing. So I've done a search here for just the surname Babbage, no other details added. And on the left-hand side, if we pick the 1841 census, you can see there's a link to view a map of those results. Now, I've picked the 1841 census because it's before industrialization, before people started moving around the country a lot. So if you click that link, you can see it produces a heat map for all of those results, county by county. And you can see, obviously here, we have the Babbage surname originating in Devon. Now, obviously, it's really good to see the origin of a particular surname, but because we cover multiple national record sets throughout the years, you can then see how that map changes over time, which is also another handy feature. So you can then go to the 51 census, the 61 census, and so on, all the way through the different years of census, and you often find a migration pattern forming. You can even go up to the 1939 register, for example. And now we can see there's that pattern going all the way up from Devon through Gloucestershire and Somerset. And if we go further in the future, we can use birth, marriage and death records to see what a 2005 map would look like. And now we can see that actually from 2005, so modern times, the Babbage surname is more concentrated in Essex and Gloucestershire than it is in its origins in Devon. So it's really interesting to see how that map changes over time for different surnames, especially if you're moving forwards and trying to locate a family that's still alive today. Now moving on to one of our most popular tools, and that's our keyword master search. It's really easy to use. You just enter a forename, a surname, a year if you wish, and then any keywords about that person. Because we fully transcribe the majority of our records, you can search for any piece of information on any part of that record, whether it's a birthplace, an occupation, an age, a relationship, or even a wife's name, for example. So here I'm using the master search to find one of my ancestors, Thomas Bayley. So I've entered Thomas Bayley, and I've entered the keywords here of Romney Marsh because I knew my ancestors were living in the Romney Marsh area of Kent in 1861, and this brings back 2 results. Now, something to point out here is that when we do our default searching, we don't just look for the exact match of a particular surname. We use something called phonetic matching. So rather than searching on variations of a name like Baylis, Baylith, Baylison, it searches for the way the name sounds. So actually it covers a wide variety of ways of spelling Bayley, as you can see now on the screen. But actually it's so refined, it's only brought back 2 results, a father and son from the same household. And if we zoom into one of those results, you'll see, because again we fully transcribe the majority of our records, we're able to give you a lot of information about each individual record we display on the screen. So you can see his wife is Charlotte, they're living in Lydd, and he's aged 46, born in 1815, and is an agricultural labourer. So you get a lot of information about each individual result very quickly on the screen, so it's very quick to try and scroll through those results and find the person you're after. And if you mouse over the record button, you actually get the family quickly coming up on a mouse over. So again, it's really quick to see if you're on the right track or you found a different family instead. So it's very quick to scroll down those records and find the one you're after. Now, the keyword search is as flexible as you want it. In this case, I have entered Thomas Bayley, but I could just leave the forename surname fields completely blank and search for, say, Carpenters born in Lambeth, and just put 2 keywords there, Carpenter and Lambeth. So it's very handy to do any kind of search you want, whether it's a location study or an occupational study. Or if you're just not sure if your name's been spelt correctly, or the particular surname of your great-great-great-grandmother, if you're trying to find her before she was married, You don't need to know the surname, you can just put her forename and some key pieces of information about her in those keyword fields. To illustrate this flexibility, one of our users came to us and said that they found an ancestor with a really unusual occupation. And the only way she could explain this occupation being recorded in the census is that perhaps the census enumerator turned up to the household after the head of the house had had a long day at work, and when he was asked what his wife did for a living, he said, well, she just drinks tea all day. So her official occupation in the census is tea drinker. So to find this record, I've not entered the forename or the surname. I've just put two keywords there, tea drinker, and I found just the one record in the 1851 census for Hannah Clowes. And here we are with the original image and the official occupation of tea drinker. But your ancestor doesn't have to have a crazy occupation like tea drinker to be able to refine your results. For example, if we look for Charles Dickens, we're going to find a few thousand results. However, if you specify the keyword of author, you're able to refine right down to that one result for the person. And it doesn't need to be occupation. It could be birthplace, street address, age, any piece of information that's on that record. You can use it as a keyword to try and refine your search. So this is the easiest and quickest tool to try and jump into your record that you're trying to find, but we have plenty of other tools to help you along the way too. For example, if you want to do a more advanced search, you can do that with our advanced search tool. So when you log into the genealogist, you'll notice the master search at the top. That's where we can enter our keywords, but just below that you'll see a heading listing advanced search. And if you scroll down, you can see all the different record collections that you can do an advanced search on. Just pick the record collection you're after. Again, I'll just pick census to show an example here. And then you have all the various fields available to you. So in this particular example, a year or so ago, one of our users was asking us if they could find all the organists for a particular church in Sunbury. And I was showing them how you can use the advanced search to pick a census year and then type in the parish of Sunbury and the occupation of organist, and it will come up with those matching results. So again, it doesn't matter what you know about your ancestor, you can use those key pieces of detail in the advanced search to try and locate the one record you're after. We also have an address search tool where you can jump straight to a particular household or a street and see those records throughout the years. In this particular case, we're looking at the 1881 census for London, and I've just typed here Downing Street, and it comes up with any matching results on that particular street. And of course, you can click to view the full record or the image, and then track that house through the different years of census. Perhaps it was passed down through the family, for example, or you're interested in the particular house history where you live. But the household and address search actually has a secondary use. If we jump back to Hannah Clowes, our tea drinker from earlier, you'll note that the address for each census result is a clickable link, in this case, the High Street. And what I do is I really recommend that you click that clickable link for the address whenever you find a new ancestor, because our ancestors lived very close to each other, often on the same street, especially going back throughout the census years. So if you click on High Street in this case, you'll see everyone else who lives on the High Street in that particular year of census. And you can see straight away, here's Samuel Clowes. That's the chap that called his wife a tea drinker. But 2 doors down from Samuel is a different Hannah, and this turns out to be Samuel's cousin. And 2 doors down from Hannah is her brother George. And again, like I was saying, this isn't just a big coincidence. It's happened all the time throughout the census years, especially the earlier census years where families lived closer together. So it just goes to show, it doesn't matter what you know about your ancestors, you can use that information to try and locate them. But what happens when you're looking for the black sheep in the family tree, or in this case, goat? Well, black sheep tend to have a few different characteristics. For example, a lot of black sheep have common names, so they're really hard to try and find the needle in the haystack of, for example, John Smith's. Some black sheep are forgetful, so they forgot where they were born and put a different place of birth in each year's census. And because they're forgetful, they give a rough age, so you can't really narrow down using their year of birth. Other black sheep change their job throughout the census years, so you can't use their occupation, and perhaps they're moving up and down the country doing these different jobs, so you can't track them down using the address they're living at either. However, there is one thing that kind of stays consistent through these censuses. For example, if John had a wife, he would tend to live with his wife throughout those different years of census, even if they did move around the country. So let's say that John had a wife called Emma, and then they had a son called Mark. Well, now we have 3 pieces of information that we can use to refine our search. And there's a specific search tool that allows you to do this called the family search. So in this particular example, I'm looking for the Smith family. John is the head, Emma is the wife, and Mark is the son. And just entering those 3 key pieces of information enables me to search across the entire census for the country and refine it right down so I just get the one result coming back. So it shows you how powerful it is knowing these kind of relationship details and being able to search through the whole of the census just for a particular family. And again, it's as flexible as the keyword search, so you can enter as much information or as little information as you want. There's a button there to keep adding more and more family members, or you can just be really unrefined and find just a John and Emma S wildcard, for example. Obviously, you're going to get a few more results, but sometimes it might be handy to do that if you're not quite sure on the spelling of a particular surname or what the surname could be. So just to illustrate this flexibility, another one of our users came to us and said that they found an ancestor that had twins, and those twins were born on a bank holiday. Unfortunately for the twins, the parents decided to name them Bank and Holiday. So I can search through the entire census of the country for forename 1 of Bank and forename 2 is Holiday. No surname required in this case because I can jump straight to that one result of a Bank and Holiday Munslow, age 2 months in the 1881 census. So again, this is all about trying to find the information, use the information you know about an ancestor to find right down to find that one result. But we can multiply that out through all of our records with the keyword master search because it enables you to search all of the records in one go. So if we use the power of the keyword search of being able to refine right down to one record and multiply that out across all of the records, in theory you should be able to find all the records for one person in one quick and easy search. And it kind of does that for you. So let me show you how you would do this. I'm looking for a John Turner to make it a bit harder for me using a common name. And I'll just put there forename John, surname Turner, the year of 1872 when he was born, and one keyword here, Cradley, the parish of his birth. And that's enough to refine it right down. We also have a new feature that allows you to sort the records. So if we sort these records into chronological order, you'll see that it produces kind of like a life story for the person. And you see that first result there is an 1871 a baptism record for John Allen Turner in December. So that means unfortunately he was born a few months too late to be included in the 1871 census. However, the next record we can see the 1881 census in Oxfordshire. So the family have moved now from Worcestershire to Oxfordshire, and you can see him listed there aged 9 as a scholar. Then 10 years later, he's moved to Carnarvonshire. You can tell by the family relationship of servant there that he's moved away from his family home and is now a butcher's assistant. And then finally we see 1911 is now in Hertfordshire and he's opened up his own butcher shop and has been married since as well, as we see here a spouse of Sarah Ann Turner listed with him. And you can see he's opened up his own, like I say, butcher shop. So even though he's moved from Worcestershire to Oxfordshire to Carnarvonshire and then Hertfordshire, we can find all those records in one quick and easy search using his birthplace as a keyword to try and refine our results. And I have been asked at this point in my talk before why I've used the keyword of Cradley and not the birth county instead of Worcestershire, because I might include a few more results, for example, where they list the district like the BMD records rather than the actual parish. Well, that's true. I could use Worcestershire and find a few more results. However, the county boundaries changed a bit throughout the census years, so you can't always guarantee they'll be in the same county. And if they move around a lot, the census enumerator would need to know the county of that parish as well, because if the person doesn't specify it to them, they'll record where they think that county is. For example, in here we can see that the baptism is recorded in Worcestershire because obviously the vicar's parish is in Worcestershire. However, when John is in Oxfordshire 10 years later, the family hasn't specified where Cradley is, and the Oxford enumerator has decided that Cradley is in Herefordshire. Then 10 years later, the Carnarvon census enumerator thinks that Cradley is in Staffordshire. And then in 1911, well, John knows where he was born himself, and obviously in 1911 you fill out your own census household returns, so he's put Cradley, Worcestershire. So that's why I've used the keyword of his parish of birth rather than his county. Now, you'll notice if you're looking at these records, there's a missing record between 1891 and 1911. What happened to the 1901 census? Well, obviously the keyword of Cradley wasn't working for me, so I removed that. He's a butcher's assistant in 1891, and he's opened up his own butcher shop in 1911, so I put the keyword of butcher instead of Cradley, and I find him straight away. He decides to say in 1901 that he was born in Malvern rather than Cradley, so I can't help it if our ancestors change what they put in each year of census, but I hope this goes to show how quick and easy it is to chop and change those keywords and find all those extra records. Now, another quick tool to find your extra records for you is something called Smart Search. Now, that's a technology that we build into our records to try and link them together. For example, in civil registration marriage records, you get 2 records for each marriage, 1 record for the bride and 1 record for the groom. And Smart Search merges those 2 together, so you can look for a Joe blogs marrying a Jane, and it comes up with more relevant matches. In this case, we're looking for Paul McCartney marrying to Linda Eastman. So we can search for James, which is Paul McCartney's first name, James McCartney marrying a Linda, and we get 2 results for the same couple because Linda Eastman is recorded once under her former partner's surname of C, and secondly with her original maiden name of Eastman. And you can tell those 2 records are for the same couple because they both have the same volume and page number. And then Smart Search goes away and finds more records for you. So if you look at those 2 records, you'll see an icon on a button of a person holding a baby. If you click that button, it then goes to find any births of children to that couple. And here you can see Mary, Stella and James, all 3 children born to that couple. So it's very easy to jump from a death record to find the birth for that particular person. From a birth record, you can find all their siblings and their parents' marriage record. And as you've just seen, you can jump from a marriage to their children as well. And this doesn't just work with BMDs. We also have Smart Search technology built into our census records and military records, making it much easier to find all the records for a particular person in those particular record collections. And then finally, once you've found all these records, you can click on the Save icon and save all these records to your family tree. And we have an online family tree builder called TreeView that allows you to do this. So you can store your family tree online and have access to it wherever you are in the world. Or you can download your family tree onto TreeView app for phones and tablets, or even a software that you can purchase from S&N Genealogy Supplies for Windows and Mac. And all of those versions of TreeView sync with each other. So if you update your family tree on your phone when you're out and about, talking to an ancestor about some extra relatives you didn't know about, when you get home, your software will sync all those updates into it, and you can build nice and pretty charts and reports using the software's extra powerful functionality. Here we can see a fan chart, and there's a mapping report here. There's a couple of examples, and it's got full drag and drop custom charting as well. So if you're not sure, or you're not quite keen on the way a tree is laid out, you can just drag and drop people and move them away if you want. You can add background photographs, foreground images, and change the font and title and things as well. So you can make a really pretty looking chart. Then you have the option of printing it out on an A4 printer at home, and then you can stick all the A4 pieces of paper back together again. Or you can send the PDF off to your printer in town or an online printer who can print it out onto one large sheet for you. Well, I hope that goes to show the different tools and techniques that you can use on the genealogist to break down those brick walls for you. And if you want to find out more about what the genealogist has to offer and visit other societies and organisations in genealogy at a physical show, you can attend the family history show that we'll be attending ourselves tomorrow in Kempton Park Racecourse in London. So if you want to book tickets to that or find out more, go to thefamilyhistoryshow.com. That's thefamilyhistoryshow.com. And I'm very pleased to say that as show sponsor of All About That Place 2024, we have a special discount for All About That Place attendees, where you can buy a diamond subscription, our top level subscription, for under £95 a year. And that comes with a lifetime discount. So every year your subscription renews with us, you'll save that same discount each time. We're also teamed up with Discover Your Ancestors magazine to give you 12 issues of their online magazine worth £24.95, and it'll be included as part of your subscription to the genealogist. So if you'd like to claim that offer, visit thegenealogist.co.uk/AATP24, and I'm sure you'll see this link listed around parts of the show, including your show guide as well. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the talk, and thank you very much for watching, and enjoy the rest of All About That Place 2024. Thank you.